Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randirhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
Roy. It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
To the CBO score, because you were waiting to make your decision about healthcare until you saw the bill and it just came out. And what you thought
we'll
about
talk to you about that later.
Yeah, but there's not going to be time. I'm just curious if you have the
Speak
right
with
now.
Shane, please.
But you don't.
I'm sick and tired of you guys. The last time you came here, you did the same thing. Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. The last guy did the same thing. You were the guardian.
Yes, and you just broke my glasses.
The last guy did the same damn thing.
You just body slammed me and broke my glasses.
Get the hell out of here.
You'd like me to get the hell out of here, I'd also like to call the police. Can I get you guys' names?
Hey, you gotta leave.
He just body slammed me.
You gotta leave.
Oh, my freaking God. Oh, my God. That's what it sounds like in my head these days, by the way. All that contretemps going on. It's happening in my head. But that was the Montana special election candidate for the Republican Party, Mr. Greg Gianforte, everybody. Greg Gianforte. Nicely done, Greg. I don't know if you saw the story or not, but I got to tell you, how much of a train wreck is our president, Donald Trump, and his presidency, if you have this story where a candidate for Congress body slams a reporter on election eve, and we barely have time to notice. Oh, America, how I love you. From sea to shining sea. Oh, better not sing. We'll get copyrighted and pulled down. No, this is the story. This is an amazing thing. And today is the special election in Montana. Hey, Montana, go vote. Except that they early vote there. And Montana is so Republican that it probably already voted for the guy named Greg Gianforte, who now they're calling up the supervisor of elections office and asking if they have already mailed in their ballot. Can they please change their vote? Because they don't want to vote for Greg Gianforte after this scene that he made last night. And the answer is no. No, you can't. So here's what happened. You have a special election. Why? Why do we have a special election in Montana? We have one because Ryan Zinke is now our Interior Secretary. You know, the guy that wants to sell off our national parks. Bears ears and, God only knows what. Maybe we'll drill in the Grand Canyon. I mean, what's the big damn deal? Grand Canyon's, it's okay. But it had maximum usage in the Thelma and Louise movie, and now we don't need it anymore. Now we can just go ahead and muck it up. For years and years, my vacation in August, I swear, my vacation in August was almost always to Las Vegas because it's cheap in August to go to Las Vegas. And, living on a budget is what I do. And so, for years and years and years, that's what my vacation would be. But I would always splurge on one thing. I'd always take the helicopter ride into the Grand Canyon. And, it's magnificent. So now let's drill there because I've seen it. You don't need to see it. You don't need to do, too bad. I've seen it. It's all about me. Anyway, Montana. Montana has one Congress member. So they call it the congressman at large because while it's a large land mass with some beautiful, spectacular, geography, it doesn't have a whole lot of people. Many, many cattle, not a lot of people. And so they have one congressman, much like Wyoming, one congressman who used to be one Dick Cheney. Boy, you people really select well. Anyway, we should let the cattle vote. We should let the cattle vote. But GOP candidate Greg Gianforte is running on the GOP's ticket to replace Ryan Zinke, who is now our Interior Secretary. He used to be the congressman at large from Montana. So there's a special election today to replace him. Greg Gianforte has been charged now on election eve with assault for attacking a reporter. And so people are wondering, will this have any effect on voters? Well, you know, some surmise that it would make Trump voters more likely to vote for him because they would think he's fighting for them. No, he's fighting reporters. He's not fighting for you. Okay, he's fighting reporters. He's beating up reporters. And here's the really horrible part of this story, okay? This was the campaign statement that was released from Greg Gianforte's campaign last night. Okay, this is what they said happened. And I can play this for you again after I tell you what they said happened so you can listen to it. And you can see if you can listen, because there's no video, it's just an audio recording. You can listen and see if you hear what they said happening. So, this is what the campaign statement read. Tonight, as Greg was giving a separate interview in a private office, the Guardian's Ben Jacobs entered the office without permission, aggressively shoved a recorder in Greg's face, and began asking badgering questions. Jacobs was asked to leave. After asking Jacobs to lower the recorder, Jacobs declined. Greg then attempted to grab the phone that was pushed in his face, and Jacobs, the reporter, grabbed Greg by the wrist and spun away from Greg, pushing them both to the ground. It's unfortunate that this aggressive behavior from a liberal journalist created the scene at our campaign volunteer barbecue. That was the official campaign statement issued by one Shane Scanlon, the spokesperson for Greg for Montana. Now, let's listen. Let's see if you hear the badgering questions. Let's see if you hear Greg asking Jacobs to lower the recorder. Let's see if we hear Mr. Jacobs decline to do that, say no. Let's hear Greg grab the phone that was pushed in his face. Let's see if we can make out two people falling to the floor after the reporter grabs the candidate and spins around, knocking them both to the floor. Okay, let's listen. It's 45 seconds.
Into the CBO score, because you know you were waiting to make your...
Oh, there's the aggressive question. So did you see the CBO score? Because I know you were waiting for that score before you, made your decision on the health care bill.
To the CBO score, because you know you were waiting to make your decision about health care until you saw the bill and it just came out. And what you thought
we'll talk to you about that later.
Yeah, but there's not going to be time. I'm just curious if you have the
speak
right
with
now.
Shane, please.
But you don't.
I'm sick and tired of you guys.
Oh,
the last guy that came in here, you did the same thing.
Oh.
Get the hell out of here. Jesus. Get the hell out of here. The last guy did the same thing. You were the Guardian?
Yes, and you just broke my glasses.
The last guy did the same damn thing.
You just body slammed me and broke my glasses.
Get the hell out of here.
If you'd like me to get the hell out of here, I'd also like to call the police. Can I get you guys' names?
Hey, you gotta leave.
He just body slammed me.
You gotta leave.
Did you hear any of that? Please put the recorder down, or put the recorder down. Or no, he said, talk to Shane. And Shane is obviously Shane Scanlon, the spokesperson for Greg for Montana. And Shane decided to put out a false press statement. And you know, the question that caused Gianforte to attack the reporter was about the CBO score of Trump Care, of that House bill. Okay? And you got to love a congressional race where asking a question about health care literally gets a reporter sent to the hospital. Oh, yes. The reporter, from the Guardian, Mr. Jacobs, was taken to the hospital, did call the police, and it turns out Greg was not knocked down to the ground at all, but Jacobs was. And Jacobs went to the hospital after asking about health care. You know, luckily for the reporter, we still have Obamacare because, here in the United States, he might need it. He just might freaking need it. And so now, a few hours after this statement comes out by Shane, talk to Shane, we have a Fox News reporter named Alicia Acuna, who happened to be there as well on election eve, covering this special election in Montana. And she witnessed the whole thing. And here's what she said in her report. As part of our preparation for a story about Thursday's special election to air on Special Report with Brett Baer, we arranged interviews with the top two candidates, Republican Greg Gianforte and Democrat Rob Quist. Now, I don't know if you've seen Rob Quist. He wears a cowboy hat and he plays guitar a lot in Montana. On Wednesday, I joined field producer Faith Mangan and photographer Keith Rayleigh in Bozeman for our scheduled interview with Gianforte, which was to take place at the Gianforte for Congress Bozeman headquarters. Faith, Keith, and I, so that's three people, arrived early to set up for the interview in a room adjacent to another room where a volunteer barbecue was to take place. I wonder if they served beer there. You think anybody was like slamming a couple of shots and beers? Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Because this guy, Gianforte, everybody knows he's got a very loud voice. But the aggression, damn. Okay. As the time for the interview neared, Gianforte came into the room. We exchanged pleasantries and made small talk about restaurants and Bozeman. Do those go together? I don't know. We'll have to do an Anthony Bourdain Parts Unknown Bozeman, and then I'll know what food you have there. During that conversation, another man who we now know as Ben Jacobs of The Guardian walked into the room with a voice recorder, put it up to Gianforte's face and began asking if he had a response to the newly released Congressional Budget Office report on the American Health Care Act. Gianforte told him he would get to him later. Jacobs persisted with his question. Gianforte told him to talk to his press guy, Shane Scanlon. At that point, Gianforte grabbed Jacobs by the neck with both hands and slammed him to the ground behind him. Faith, Keith, and I watched in disbelief as Gianforte then began punching the reporter. As Gianforte moved up on top of Jacobs, he began yelling something to the effect of, "I'm sick and tired of this. You guys did this to me before." Jacob scrambled to his knees and said something about his glasses being broken. He asked Faith, Keith, and myself for our names. In shock, we did not answer. Jacobs then said he wanted the police called and went to leave. Gianforte looked at the three of us and repeatedly apologized. At that point, I told him and Scanlon, who was now present, that we needed a moment. The man left. To be clear, at no point did any of us who witnessed this assault on Jacobs see Jacobs show any form of physical aggression toward Gianforte, who left the area after giving statements to local sheriff's deputies. As for myself and my crew, we are cooperating with local authorities. Gianforte was given a citation for misdemeanor assault and will have to appear in court sometime before June 7. Scanlon later issued a statement saying that Jacobs entered the campaign office without permission, aggressively shoved a recorder in Greg's face, and began badgering questions. Later, the statement added, after asking Jacobs to lower the recorder, Jacobs declined. Greg then attempted to grab the phone that was pushed in his face. Jacobs grabbed Greg by the wrist and spun away from Greg, pushing them both to the ground. It's unfortunate that this aggressive behavior from a liberal journalist created this scene at our campaign volunteer barbecue. Except none of that was true. The candidate literally grabbed this reporter by the neck with both hands and body slammed him to the ground, breaking his glasses and causing him physical harm. And then issued a statement saying it was the liberal media's fault. Now, do you see how all this talk from our president about the media and the lying media and the fake media and that CNN sucks and making people, not be able to orient themselves with regard to what is true and what is false and issuing false statements and the violence and I will pay your legal fees and back in the day we punch them in the face. Do you see what's happening here? Journalists are not your problem. Republican policies are your problem. Lying by Republicans is your problem. This is off the rails, man. This is just crazy. Go to randyrhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.